Okay, so I'm going to get to talking about the Black Panther DLC specifically later on in the video. But because I've never talked about the main game, we're going to tackle that part first. And if you don't want to stick around for the fun and only want the Black Panther talk, skip to this time on the screen right now and get right into Wakanda. Otherwise, let's hop into this because I'm already about to start with the negativity. They started me out in the marketplace before I could even start the game. It's crazy to see these games sending you straight to pulling out your credit card before you even put a minute into the gameplay. And can we talk about these prices for a second? It's about $1 for every 100 points, and so many of these outfits are like $6 to $15 per costume. Here I was thinking Fortnite was a ripoff, but at least some of the costumes in there let me be Rick or Raven or Chun-Li or even Master Chief. But in this game, I spend damn near the same amount of money to be Black Widow, but with a slightly different colored outfit. Gee, thanks y'all. That's exactly what everyone wanted.
We don't care. Let me tell you.
On paper, I thought I would be in love with this game. Beat 'em up games and action RPGs are like my lifeblood, and having a Marvel game based on it is absolutely amazing. On paper, that is. Don't get me wrong though, playing as many of these characters is so fun, especially when the Hulk is one of the very first characters you unlock in the story. Cause let me tell you, the Hulk needs his own game, period. Playing as the Hulk reminded me so much of the older Hulk games and how you could destroy everything, and damn, this brings back all those good vibes. As a matter of fact, I'd say most characters give me those similar vibes. Kamala is a good example of that. I admit using her feels like I'm playing with someone's DeviantArt OC, but her power to beat up bad guys with giant fists feels so satisfying. Like, come on, look at Kamala throwing hands like she's a Jehovah's Witness knocking on my front door. The main issue I tend to have isn't really with the characters themselves, but how bare bones they felt as I played through the story. Getting my character's abilities to charge up was frustrating. And I get that I can unlock skills that lower the wait times for the abilities, but again, that requires grinding just to get those skill points. This is one of those games that gives you an idea of how powerful you can be and how fun things may become, but only if you break past the wall of grind to get to that point. Believe me, I love looting mechanics in games, but this shit just seems unnecessary.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
They really tried pushing the looter-shooter formula to make a game that will last for years upon years. The main problem with these games tends to be the issue of keeping your players invested throughout those years with plenty of content to come back for and grind. If all you can offer me as an incentive to keep coming back is the chance to play harder levels and unlock more powerful gear for each character, then nah, I'm good, Chief. I get that the game is meant to be a live service, but for these characters to be able to level up to level 100 and higher, it sounds like they really expected people to get hooked on this game. And believe me, there ain't no way I'm pouring enough hours into this to get anywhere close to level 50. And this right here might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think the best live service games tend to have a decent feedback loop to them. There has to be a legit reason for me to want to turn this game on at least once a week, and I see no reasons. Maybe if they offered free currency to unlock skins and takedowns, but from what I can tell, you can only buy those with real money. For example, games like Genshin Impact, which I'm currently addicted to by the way, they have a much better feedback loop with characters coming out on a regular basis, tons of free content, and events on a regular basis as well. The most I've ever seen from the Avengers game is them advertising new skins and the double XP weekends, which doesn't make that much of a difference. Like, hey, I get it, Square, make your bread as you need to, but double XP doesn't mean much if I have nothing to level up my characters for in the first place. I ended up finishing the main campaign with all of my heroes still being under level 20, and the kind of backtracking I'd have to do to grind to get better loot would be unbearable without a good squad of friends to play the game with. But that's the issue though, because not that I have no friends, but I couldn't even pick 3 people off my PSN friend list who would want to play this game. The base game is devoid of its max fun factor because of the grind. But hey, don't get me wrong, getting this for $20 was a nice weekend worth of fun. But if you ask me if I'm willing to grind for the extra costumes, materials, and gear, the answer is a simple hell nah. And hey, I'm playing this for the first time around the release of the Black Panther DLC, and the story mode alone would have been a rip-off for $60 on day one. But real quick, before I jump into the Black Panther DLC, I want to touch on the two other DLC that came out before Black Panther, and it's not that great, I'll be honest with you. They really came out with two Hawkeye DLC back to back. And my problem isn't the characters themselves though, they both have a fairly unique playstyle, which was a nice surprise. The problem is how bland these DLC were. And I get it, it wasn't meant to be a full expansion like War for Wakanda, but this shit was just lame. It just felt like pre-order bonus DLC that was cut from the main game. Not only does one part of the DLC have one of the most tedious puzzles I've seen in a video game recently, but it just has no soul. The locations it takes place in are either the same kind of boring laboratories or even a barren wasteland. But hey, there's an older version of the Hulk to fight, so that's okay, I guess. Besides the fact that he kept destroying me over and over again, of course. But what I'll get into in the next part is exactly the opposite of what this DLC was lacking. So without further ado, let me take y'all to the motherland of Wakanda. This is the first major expansion to Avengers, and if they really want this game to last for the next few years, this is how they can do it. Granted, all the other things I mentioned about the main game are still present. There's obviously a grind that they expect from us, and there's plenty of pricey cosmetics from the jump. But what War for Wakanda adds is crucial to what is going to make this game last for a very long time. It's not about adding skins and more powerful gear, because clearly plenty of players dropped off the game without caring about any of that crap. What it's about is the story, the characters, the setting, and really getting a chance to expand on those things by themselves. What both of the Hawkeye DLCs lacked was its own identity from the rest of the game. It felt like it didn't stand on its own 2 feet. However, if you wanted to jump into Wakanda, the story feels like it doesn't need the campaign. Wakanda has its own hub outside of the Quinjet, and not only a hub, but the world itself is different. The lush jungle environment filled with culture and references is exactly what I want from these expansions going forward. Having a few missions added here and there is great and all, but when they add in these new characters and flesh them out completely, it makes a huge difference. To think that they plan to have Spider-Man released for this game is crazy, since it's about to be a year after the game's release and we still haven't seen anything about him. But whenever they do come out with that DLC, it would be a crime for them to not show Spider-Man the same sort of love that was shown to Black Panther. And I'm talking a miniature version of New York to be able to swing around and do missions. And yeah, I know the Spider-Man games do exist, but hey, you know, this is going to be a smaller scale version of it because we're trying to get the authenticity of the character. Putting these characters fully in their own expansions will have me eager to come back, because it's really going to feel more like the Marvel gaming universe I was hoping that would happen one day. But I digress, because there are at least a few minor issues I have with this Wakanda expansion. First of all being the new point control mission that the expansion added. I'm not going to sit here and complain all day, but playing these kind of missions solo is such a pain in the ass. Going back and forth, making sure they don't mess up your shit was tedious. And hey, maybe I needed to level up my abilities a bit better to help me out, but even still, they clearly keep showing they want you to play with others, but I'm sorry Square, that shit is just not gonna happen. Another thing is the newest status effect they added, which made me want to tear my eyes out a few times. This shit makes it so you can't see much around you, and my god, does it do a great job. One mission in particular took me about 3 tries because I was getting jumped by the drones, this giant drill, and the goons kept beating me senseless, literally. But outside of all of those things, I really enjoyed this expansion so much. If you are someone who is considering picking up the game just to play as Black Panther, I say it's worth getting for a clean $20 and trying out. Whether or not you want to stick around for the grind is totally up to you, but luckily I got through this entire game without putting in any extra grind whatsoever. And that about wraps up this video, so don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this one. Hit the thumbs up and don't forget to leave a comment down below letting me know your opinions on this game as well. So I will see you guys in the next one.